welcome to Musing Maker. I'm Harriet. In this episode of Work in Progress Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about my progress on a Fair Isle project that I'm working on to complete Level 2 of the Master Hand Knitter Certification Program. In fall of 2024, I passed Level 1 of the Knitting Guild Association's Master Hand Knitter Certification Program. And so I've been working on Level 2 ever since then, and one of the things that I want to do this summer is make progress on that, and so I'm using my Work in Progress Wednesday episodes to do that. In today's episode, what I want to focus on is one of the projects for the program, which is the creation of a Fair Isle wristlet. And since it's a Fair Isle project, you have to show some knowledge of color selection and color pairings. And so that's what I want to kind of walk through in this episode today, is choosing the yarn that I'm going to use to make the required Fair Isle wristlet. Okay, so these are the colors of fingering weight yarn that I have already in stash to use for the Fair Isle wristlet project that I'm planning for Level 2. And the thing that sort of adds an additional wrinkle to this, or challenge, is that one of the parameters for the project is that you have to use brightly colored yarn. And that's good, I've got a lot of brightly colored yarn, but I can't use anything that's dark colored. And that's because they need to be able to see your stitches and evaluate your stitches. So on the one hand, they want to see that, you're showing an understanding of color and making choices with color. But at the same time, right, those color choices are kind of circumscribed by the fact that they also need to be able to evaluate your knitting. So none of the colors that are particularly dark, so like this one or this one, I'm not going to be able to use those. So that creates a little bit of a wrinkle for me. But I think what I'll do now is basically put all these colors out and kind of think about how I might want to pair them together. So I will set you down so that I can do that. Okay, so I put out the colors that I think will qualify as bright. The other piece that I forgot to mention is that one of the requirements for Level 2 is also that you cannot use heathered yarn for any of your projects. Again, the idea is that they want to be able to see your stitches. And so I always kind of forget that, and then I have to be reminded of it. So I'm trying to keep that in mind as I look at these colors, and I may have to eliminate some if I feel like they're a little bit too close to looking like they're potentially heathered. So what I've done is I've taken this video, taken a photo of this layout, and use the filter on my phone to make it, to put it on the noir setting, right? Basically to highlight the value. And I'll try to put a picture up here on the screen to show you what that looks like. And so basically, setting aside kind of where things are on the color wheel, I also need to factor in the idea that if I put, for example, these two colors next to each other that look like they might really stand out next to one another, they're not going to stand out as much as I think they're going to, because they are the same value, right? And you can see that once you kind of put the photo into black and white. Similarly, right, I think, obviously we would be a little bit more aware, like this color and this color are going to blend in together a little bit more than we would probably want them to, right? But the flip side of that is these two colors right here are going to have strong contrast to one another, because they're both, the value is different, and the value of them is different, and they're also, this one is a sort of reddish violet, and this one is a lightish blue. So what I think I'll do now is try to kind of move colors around and narrow down the colors that I might want to use for my wristlet project based on kind of making sure there's nothing heathered and also taking a look at the value of the different yarns that I have here. Okay, so I think these are the colors that I've settled on, and I put my iPhone next to it where I've got the image of it in the noir setting, right? So the black and white setting. And, you know, obviously these two colors are going to be in stark contrast to one another. I need to be a little careful about putting this next to that white. I'm not sure the contrast will show up. Similarly, these two colors, even though they're analogous colors and will look good together, I've got to kind of keep in mind that because they're analogous colors that will look together, that will look good together, they may not show, the contrast may not be quite as bright. And similarly with this one and this one, right, the values on those. This next to this is going to stand out, right? This one and this one. Similarly, this next to this, this next to pretty much anything, there's going to be a pretty strong contrast. So right now I've got 7 colors on here, and I think that I need 6. So I'll just need to eliminate 1 more of the colors. And I think I'll figure that out as I get a little bit closer to actually kind of designing the, working on the wristlet itself. My goal for today was to at least narrow it down to as close to 6 colors from the huge bucket of stuff that I have there. And I think I've done that. So this is pretty sure this is what I'm going to be using as my color scheme for the Fair Isle wristlet. Okay, so last quick thing. Last week I made up this very rough and ready poster board to kind of highlight the things that some of the things I need to be working on for the Master Hand Knitter Program Level 2, and as I mentioned, there's a decent amount of writing. So I just wanted to give a quick update on that. So this week I was able to work on the history report, right? So you have to write up a history of knitting. So I'd say about 1/3 of the way through doing that. And you need to do 3 book reviews. And I have 2 of them already done, and I've got a plan for the 3rd one. So my project for this past week has been to choose the colors for the Fair Isle wristlet and work on the book reviews, work on the history. And so check back again next week to see how I made progress on those 3 things.